My name is Emily, and currently I reside with my husband Tom. However, amidst various ups and downs, thoughts of divorcing Tom have crossed my mind several times. Despite contemplating this decision once things settled down, I never found the opportune time. Consequently, I remain married to him. Our children have grown up and left our care, with our younger son even getting married. It seemed like an appropriate moment to consider divorce. Then our eldest son, John, brought home his fiancée, Catherine. I anticipated getting along well with my potential future daughter-in-law. As I extended a greeting, Catherine, with a cute smile, firmly grasped my hand. Observing her engaging conversation and warm demeanor, I couldn't help but think it was natural for John to like her. Even my husband Tom appeared to enjoy her company. Catherine truly seemed like a wonderful girl, and with only 2 sons, it felt like I finally had a daughter. Witnessing my husband's smile and friendly interaction with Catherine, I couldn't suppress a sigh. The main reason behind my contemplation of divorce stemmed from Tom's bad behavior towards women. In our 30-year marriage, he had engaged in affairs at least 6 times, with each instance resulting in consequences. Despite my hesitation to divorce him, unwilling to deprive our children of their father, I planned to consider divorce once the children were independent. However, since that decision, Tom had not strayed, and I hadn't brought up the topic of divorce. Part of the delay was due to my busy work life, but I couldn't deny that I had expected Tom to do something outrageous. Suddenly, Tom suggested that John and Catherine should live with us, stating that Catherine had lost her parents and lacked relatives for support. He proposed that we become her second parents. Perplexed, I questioned his sudden change in stance, as he usually avoided getting involved in troublesome matters. Despite his usual reluctance, he seemed eager to support his daughter-in-law. I couldn't help but express my surprise, asking him if he was all right and pointing out that such sentiments were unexpected from him. Tom, seemingly oblivious to the oddity of his behavior, interpreted my words as disapproval. He questioned whether I disliked Catherine or felt threatened in my position as the only woman in the family. I clarified that I had never enjoyed special treatment due to my gender and had always been busy, regardless of being the sole woman in the house. To sustain this family, I've been busy here and there, managing various responsibilities. However, it struck me as unusual when my husband Tom started talking about supporting others. He rarely takes care of others and has consistently refused to train newcomers at work. I mentioned that he had never done it even once, and upon hearing this, he seemed to recall his usual behavior. As if trying to conceal his embarrassment, he scratched his head and admitted that he usually avoids troublesome matters, but that's mainly about work. Tom argued that Catherine is going to be family, so it's normal for him to be concerned about her. While I considered his words, thinking it might be unusual for him to show such care, I didn't initially have a bad impression of John and Catherine living together. However, as newlyweds, I wondered if Catherine might have reservations. Tom assured me not to worry, expressing confidence that Catherine would never oppose the idea. Later, after the wedding, Catherine confirmed Tom's prediction, saying that living together was fine with her. She explained that having lost both her parents, getting married to John and joining a new family made her feel less lonely. Despite initial concerns, I was amazed at how smoothly things were going, and thus our life together began. John, having always lived in this house, was capable of handling housework. Catherine, a full-time housewife, diligently took care of household chores. Initially, I felt relieved as Catherine's presence seemed to lighten my burdens. However, Tom's comments about needing a beautiful woman like Catherine in the house and expressing physical improvement since her arrival began to make me uneasy. Even when he deliberately sat too close to her on the sofa, he dismissed concerns, saying, "Don't worry, after all, we're family now." About a month into our shared living arrangement, I noticed one of my accessories had disappeared. Considering my regular organization of jewelry and accessories, it seemed unlikely that I misplaced it. What heightened my concern was that the most expensive item was missing from my jewelry box. Concerned about the missing jewelry, I decided to install a camera in my room due to growing mistrust towards Catherine. She displayed no discomfort around Tom, who was getting too close, and knowing some of Tom's previous mistresses had shown interest in my belongings, I suspected Catherine might be similar. When a second piece of jewelry went missing, I checked the camera and found Catherine on tape. Confronting her with the footage, Catherine burst into tears and collapsed on the floor, claiming innocence. Calmly, I questioned her about the missing jewelry, and she cried even more. It seemed she thought crying wouldn't work on me, and sought help from Tom. He rushed in, embraced Catherine, and accused me of bullying my daughter-in-law, expressing disbelief in my wickedness. Catherine's husband, John, arrived late, confused by the scene. Unable to reason with Tom and Catherine, I took John outside and showed him the video. He turned pale, needing time to process what he saw. Returning to the living room, I overheard Tom and Catherine planning to frame me as the villain, with Catherine excited about the prospect. They discussed using photos to claim I had bullied her, aiming to drive me out. In dismay, I learned that Emily's father had recently passed away, leaving an inheritance of $900 million. Tom and Catherine planned to persuade John to manage the family finances, ensuring they could spend the entire inheritance. Disrupting their delusional plans, I decided to take action. Informing John of their affair, we went to a detective agency for a detailed investigation into Tom and Catherine's relationship. Confirming their affair, the next step was clear: a divorce with Tom. Having already prepared divorce papers during Tom's sixth affair, I had held off on submitting them since he hadn't cheated since then. Despite my intention to discuss the matter with Tom amid various family events, including our second son's marriage, our eldest son's marriage, and my father's funeral, we never found the time. Now, determined to proceed, I filled in my part of the divorce papers and promptly submitted them to the office. Announcing a long business trip, I decided to leave the house. Tom didn't conceal his eagerness for my departure, treating me as if I were a nuisance. Reflecting on why I married such a person, I opted to stay in a hotel near my company. Reluctantly, I asked John to undertake the challenging task of setting up cameras in the house and later retrieving them. Although I enlisted the help of a detective agency, having additional evidence was never a problem, so I decided to record Tom and Catherine's interactions at home. After my father's 49th day memorial service, the lawyer informed me that I had inherited all of my father's estate. Accompanying me, Tom couldn't hide his grin upon hearing the news. It was astonishing how humans could reveal such blatantly greedy faces. As soon as Tom brought me home, he gathered everyone in the living room, including my eldest son and his wife. Pompously, he announced that he was giving all the inheritance to the eldest son's family, claiming it was a command from the head of the family with no objections allowed. Catherine, unaware her affair with Tom was exposed to her husband, looked at John and said she was looking forward to the deposit. Having prepared divorce papers during Tom's sixth affair, I had refrained from submitting them since he hadn't cheated since then. Despite my intention to discuss it amid various family events, it never materialized. Determined, I filled in my part and submitted the divorce papers. Announcing a long business trip, I decided to leave the house, and Tom's eagerness for my departure was apparent. Staying in a hotel near my company, I asked John to set up cameras in the house and later retrieve them. I also recorded Tom and Catherine's interactions, gathering more evidence. After my father's memorial service, the lawyer informed me of inheriting all of my father's estate. Accompanying me, Tom couldn't hide his grin. However, upon returning home, Tom declared giving all the inheritance to our eldest son's family, asserting he was the head of the family with absolute orders. Catherine, unaware of inheritance laws, was shocked. Tom, caught up in his affair, embarrassingly argued against my claim. I revealed having sold the house, leaving Tom bewildered. He argued about the property tax, revealing his ignorance. I pointed out that the house was inherited by me, not him, and Tom, still lost in thoughts of his affair, failed to comprehend. Catherine, shocked by Tom's claim, seemed genuinely surprised. I calmly exposed their affair, revealing photos taken by a detective agency. I left the house with John, my divorce finalized, and referred him to a good lawyer for his divorce. The next day at work, Tom caused a scene, claiming to be the next president due to being the son-in-law of the former president. The vice president approached me, and I informed Tom about his suspension and impending dismissal. Tom, desperate, tried to cling to me, but I shrugged him off, stating that the divorce was already processed. Catherine, facing disapproval from her parents, was under house arrest and working in a job chosen by them. Tom, having spent most of his savings, borrowed money from dangerous sources and disappeared. With Tom and Catherine out of my life, my existence finally felt secure.